Everybody, welcome back to Wargaming.net Gold League. I'm Joshua Clutch Gray, joined by Randall Rukel-Holcomb. We have 2 more matches left for tonight. That's Fulcrum. We already got Fulcrum Gaming over with.
It's all done. It's all done.
Let's go back to what we had today, and then we'll go into the 2 matches. We have Simp versus our #RU Simp 1-3-0. No Limit versus Hammer Time 1-3-1. Then we had Fulcrum Gaming versus Top Tier. Fulcrum Gaming 1-3-0. Now we're going to have the GooglyBobbers versus the Cazadores, and following them, it will be Cunningham's versus River of Blood. A lot of people are looking forward to that. A lot of people are looking forward to getting some codes. How do people get codes tonight?
They tweeted us. That's how they get codes at WGLNA. You can also maybe throw something over to Clutch at Clutch08, or I'm at Rookhill. Maybe we can help you guys get a code. We can always talk to our Sean about that and say, Sean,
right.
Give this guy a code. We can help you out. If you've already got a code, I think you can win another one, and you can't redeem it yourself, but you can give it to one of your friends.
Let's go ahead and jump into our face-off right now, guys. GooglyBobbers versus the Cazadores. Hola, ¿cómo estás, Kufo?
Hola, hola, muy bien, Clutch.
Bienvenido a regresar a la Season 3.
I think he's got a new headset.
Yeah.
Looking good.
All right, and Spoon, hello, how you doing?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Tell us about last night. What happened? What happened to the team, and how are you going to make adjustments for the rest of the season?
Well, we played quite well last night. I thought we had a little rough with some comms. Perhaps just maybe not practicing enough. We also had some problem with legs last night. Of course, you guys know that. And hopefully we can do some more training to ready up for our battle tonight.
All right, Kufo. You guys have had trouble in the past. How are you actually preparing for this season? Can we expect you to be in the top 8?
Kufo, ¿qué me quieres hablarte en español o qué quieres en inglés?
Español.
Español, bueno. Real quick, Rukill, repeat the question again.
You guys have had trouble in the past. How are you going to move forward to improve this season?
En el pasado, tu equipo que tuvieran un poco difícil matches. Y ahora, ¿cómo se hacerán a ser mejor y ser mejor en esta season?
Esperamos en esta Season 3, jugar mucho más coordinados y mucho más, se puede decir, mucho más eficientemente y con menos, más arriesgado también.
Bueno, Kufo said that they want to play more coordinated, they want to play more efficiently, and just to play better, obviously. But I think the coordination's a big thing too, because we would see elements from the Cazadores play really, really well, and then we'd see elements that kind of break apart. So that was his answer.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that they're really, really improving. GooglyBobbers, Spoon. They had some trouble yesterday. Spoon, do you guys feel shaken at all from that?
Not necessarily shaken. We're still confident. I think that we'll be prepared for tonight, though.
I have another question for Kufo real quick. I'm going to ask him, they represent the Latino players that speak Spanish. We have Game Over. It's going to represent, the Portuguese-speaking players. So how does it feel to be back here in Season 3 representing the Latin speakers? Kufo, ¿cómo se sienten al regresar esta season, Season 3, y representar los jugadores que se hablan español, que se dan a México y Sudamérica? ¿Es un honor para ustedes?
Sí, es un honor poder representar a los jugadores que hablan español en el servidor norteamericano, y esperamos representarlo de la mejor forma posible, mostrando un juego interesante y bonito, un juego bonito.
I don't know if he said unido or wonido. ¿Qué significa la última palabra? ¿Lunido?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Oh, Lunido. Okay. So it's an honor for them to represent the Spanish-speaking players, and it's an honor for them to be back. And they want to continue to represent the Spanish-speaking players with good plays and with beautiful plays and beautiful games.
All right. Awesome.
Cool. Discúlpame, Kufo, que mi español no está perfecto, pero gracias por tu paciencia. Okay. Bueno, Kufo, ¿tiene algunas palabras for GooglyBobbers? Do you have any words for GooglyBobbers before we start this match?
Que tengan muy buenas partidas. Vamos a dar lo mejor para que podamos ganar y esperamos que lo disfruten. Ya ambos disfrutemos estas batallas.
All right. Well, Spoon, I'll translate that for you. They want to have a good game. Let's enjoy it. He has some more words, but we'll let the ones that speak Spanish translate those. Spoon, anything to say to Kufo before we start?
Good luck, have fun, and I hope for the best of fights.
Okay. Good luck and have fun. All right, let's go ahead and check who has the higher seed. That is going to be the Cazadores. Ustedes están más alta en la palabra en inglés es seed, entonces ¿quieres escoger heads or tails?
Tails.
Tails. All right. It is heads. So GooglyBobbers, Spoon, you get to
We'll
choose.
defer.
Or defer. Okay, defer. ¿Qué mapa? ¿Qué quieres, Cazadores?
Wait. Ensk.
Ensk. Ensk will be the
Ensk.
first match. Okay, GooglyBobbers, which side will you spawn?
Let's go south side.
South side for GooglyBobbers. Sur por GooglyBobbers. Norte por Cazadores for Ensk. All right, gentlemen. Buena suerte. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
And there you have it. I still got my Spanish.
Still got it.
Still a little bit rusty. There's a couple words where it's kind of crazy translating, man, because I know 90% of what he's saying, like the spirit of what he's saying, but for me to translate it into English, sometimes the first or two sentences I'll go, oh, I already lost it. Like I already
You already
lost it.
forgot what it was?
Well, it's not like I understood the sentimentality, so
Yeah.
but to translate the same sentimentality, I can do that in English, but just like word for word, it's really tough.
Right.
Really tough. So kudos to people that have to translate.
Yeah.
Man,
There's some people that are so good at that. It's disgusting.
they
You
get
watch
paid
them.
lots of money doing it.
Yeah, it's. You could probably just quit this, go become a translator for us. Such.
No, there's plenty.
study
of,
if you could
there's
do it.
plenty of imperfects, imperfect sentences, like I was working compared to I worked. It's like trabajo is the root word.
Yeah.
Trabaje is like the past, but I was working is trabajaba, which I always thought was the funniest word I ever heard in Spanish.
Trabajaba.
Trabajaba. I was.
That's
working.
that is a silly word.
But it's the aba is the imperfect tense of you were doing something, but then it changes something else. Language is fascinating because how we judge time in the past of what something was doing, the same type of rules exist in all the different languages to explain that, to convey that to someone. Yet it's said in so many different ways.
I used to call someone I used to work with Senor Tortuga. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Coach.
No, I'm also learning Korean too, and that's a tough language, but it's fun. It was fun being in Korea because you had to survive picking stuff up, and when you're in the cabin, they're asking you all this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, he said ODA, which means where, and then I would say this, and I would go Chogyo, which means over there, or come over here.
I've almost had to
So-
use no foreign languages ever. Like even
America.
in places where, like amongst people I thought spoke all Spanish, it's like I say a word or I say something in Spanish and I'm like stumbling. I'm like asking where the bathroom is or something. And then they just tell me in English and I'm like, oh, I thought,
Body language is the universal language,
yeah.
and that's what you have to use sometimes to accomplish what
And
you
also over yonder can communicate everything you need to say in directions for the English language. So it's the only thing you need to know how to say.
Well, it's great to see Kufo and the Cazadores. What do you think the type of tanks we're going to see for this map? For instance?
Probably nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, Cazadores run pretty comprehensive setups, like Object 416, maybe an Object 416 down the middle, because this is Ensk after all. That's going to be the first battle. And on Ensk, I'd expect probably a 416 or a T69 from Kufo. Kufo taking out the 5.6. Then everyone else will probably go around to the west side and take up that really conventional approach where you just kind of slow play, you send a T1 up, he scouts it, then you bring everyone up behind that to support it, with Kufo trying to get as much damage as he can right down the middle. And then after you begin some kind of engagement to the northwest, Kufo comes in, you get some flanking fire in there, and they clean that up. That's ideal situation I'd expect for Cazadores. Now, GooglyBobbers, do almost the same thing, actually,
Yeah,
except they'll have
it's
spoon in a
reverse.
1390. They'll probably have spoon in a 1390.
We saw a lot of the same type of technique, the same type of tanks being brought to the matchup with the Pershings. And Civil Takers performed very well in that type of scenario of using that long range down the railroad tracks to get those shots happening. Why don't you go ahead and bring up the telestrator if you can,
Be glad
to the type of positioning you can have on the railroad tracks and why the window is so small for that to happen, but can have such big benefits.
Okay, so track side. I'll say blue is south. There's a little bush. I'll try to make the circle small enough, and there's two little bushes in this area that have an interesting view, and there's a small window looking up this 6th line to actually see your opponent. That's a really bad line. Right up to your opponent, because your opponent's going to go west or east, of course, right at the beginning, and there's only a few tanks that are going to spawn to that side. There's a small area over here that can spawn to, and over here. And they can kind of cross that, maybe, but the thing is, you're only going to get a little info and maybe a little damage across, especially if you bring something like 1390. 416, if you spot up here, lesser view range, you're going to have trouble seeing because your wall is maybe closer to there, whereas the 1390 you'll see all the way to the other side.
Now, the east side, again, I bring this up all the time, the east side approach, hardly ever taken by some of these tankers, but it's still a viable tactic.
Completely viable.
Especially when you have a very limited engagement on the city block side, the west side.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly where these tanks are, where the lineup is, and they can be in great defensive spots. But if you can push across next to the railroad tracks and use those buildings to your west as cover from the left, and then peek in and see, hey, there's the back of an IS-3, let me get the shot and get it. That's one-shot victory.
You can make it work.
230 to 400 HP down for that tank. Why not? Why not? Hint, hint. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into Ensk. They're not watching the stream. There's a 10-minute delay. GooglyBobbers versus the Cazadores. Battle number 1.
Taking a look at these tanks, we have two 5100s, two IS-3s, and a 1390 for the red team. For the blue team, we have two 5100s, two IS-3s, and a T-69.
Cazadores are going to be in the blue.
Yep.
Kufo leading the charge there.
GooglyBobbers in the red.
And they'll be spawning to the south, GooglyBobbers. 5100s again. Gotta be very considerate about these tanks, because if you're able to lock down the damage, and they do take damage, but if you can stop them from dishing it out, that is a major boon for your team.
And as you said at Clutch, there's actually going to be some east side play.
Yes!
Yep. Jonah 2 taking down some walls so that there is cap coverage. And there's your east side play from Cazadores. You got Pollen's leading the way. Cess and Logos battle buddies for life in the IS-3s. Will follow him up and actually take the lead. Cess with Logos not but 50 meters behind him. Always. The two of them are inseparable.
Well, Sovereign Zool, Tuxzilla, and Baron are going to not see anything as they push up very quickly. Not up the one line, but down
That's the 3
that
line.
C-D corridor, but coming up the 3 line.
Wow. That's
They're
a really aggressive move right off the bat.
Very aggressive, but
Yep.
they're not going to see each other at all, and this is going to be a little bit dangerous for the Cazadores.
What made them make this move? What made the GooglyBobbers actually move this quickly? I don't know.
They saw nothing. Their 1390 saw nothing when he was going up the 5 line. And their IS-3s and the 5100s saw nothing in their scouting, not even proxy scouting. And they thought, let's just keep going until we spot something. They didn't spot anything, which allows them to push up this far. It's that locomotion type mentality of everybody stop when I say so. Nothing spotted, they don't stop.
Wow, that's that's an interesting move. I feel like there's a window for that to fail if there was interesting spawning happening, or maybe a one-line push or something like that. But the GooglyBobbers are already on cap. They recognize that the walls have been destroyed, and the only person in any area to see this happen, as Blue Base is under attack, is going to be Thugscribe. And he's not going to be able to pen a few of these tanks that could get on cap. These IS-3s are going to be invulnerable to him. Thugscribe is not going to have an easy time on cap, as 22 seconds remain, and all of the Cazadores are to the south.
This is tough because the Cazadores were not anticipating this whatsoever. They wanted a full-on approach, a fast cap, but the same thing happened on the other side.
9,
And
8.
this is really tough because you want to keep one of the T1s down to not allow this to happen.
2, 1, 0.
And it's a capture.
Base captured.
Wow.
Cazadores out of position. GooglyBobbers take battle number 1.
Well, I really applaud Cazadores using the eastern approach because it is coming out of left field. But when you don't have a single T1 hanging back on that side of the map to see if they're coming up that one line, usually the one line, you'll see that one line aggression, but that was a 2 and 3 line, it fell apart.
Yeah, didn't work out for the Cazadores. They were out of position, didn't have anyone to defend, and GooglyBobbers just took the initiative. They took the risk, and it was the best. It was the best choice.
I think only how many shots are fired?
How many?
Everyone shot 5 or less in the whole battle.
Yeah, they didn't get a chance. They barely got a chance to do anything. Most of
Kufo's
that-
the one that shot the most.
Yeah, I think he was probably just taking gun cover or something too. I don't know what he was shooting at when he was just around there. There wasn't much for him to shoot at when everything started.
Well, that's a battle victory for the GooglyBobbers in a fast cap scenario, a base race scenario. And I don't think I've ever seen that before in Ensk. At least not something that
I'm
fast.
surprised.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit baffled.
Well, it's tough because I can think the mindset. I can think of the
Yeah.
mindset of the Cazadores of let's bring our T1s because we can guard them.
Well, they brought one back, but he's just not able to do anything against the tier 8s that are on cap.
Yeah. That's more the scouting run. Abby's going to be the map choice next. And that is a slow-paced map. The
Can
first
be.
time it can be, but
Can be.
it's the first time we're seeing this map for today. We
Yeah.
saw it last night.
You like to bring that up
twice.
whenever we see it the first time of the season.
Well,
yesterday
I
and the first
find
time
I
today.
patterns. I find patterns in the maps that are played the most, or the teams feel the most comfortable on.
Yeah.
Play first.
You did pick up on that 5-minute reset.
Yeah.
Clutch is the one. He's responsible for
I'm a professional. I get paid to do this, so
That's his excuse.
I mean we're the best in America at what we do.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
Clutch.
thank you. I think one of us believes in our team, but you'll see the patterns with these different players, and I really like it when I don't see something that I guessed would happen. The water play used by Hammer Time.
Oh my, that.
It was great
Yeah, it was great.
for this scenario.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what World Tanks is.
Yeah.
Okay. You have standard metas that work the best 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But when you go against the grain of the meta a little bit, and your enemy team's not anticipating that, you get a win. A win's a win. It's
Yeah.
a W. It's those 3 points that you need.
That's all you need.
matter how you
and
get
it's
it.
good enough as long as it's sufficient.
That's right. That's right. Well, Abby, the 3 different approaches. We saw a lot of engagements happen so far in the center area. And we have about 60 seconds to go until we're ready to go here for the players. But the reason why I feel it's a slow map is because if you have a team, for example, Cazadores, choosing to go down the eastern road, and then the GooglyBobbers going up the western road,
Very likely also.
yeah, they're not going to see each other for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, Cazadores generally go east as well. Good call on that, because I don't think we've seen them go west at all much. Yeah, they pretty much go east.
Well,
they play
one
the
of the-
east side of the map, and that is it.
One of the big victories that the Cazadores had is when we had the tier 8 rule in place
Oh, yeah.
back in Season 1, where they got a kill at the last second on one of the T-69s that was in the center, and it was just in time for them to get the tier 8 advantage.
Yeah. But no longer there is the tier 8 rule.
We no
you have
longer
to kill
have that
everything
rule.
at capital.
That's right. Let's go ahead and jump into battle number 2, guys. GooglyBobbers is up 1-0 against Team Cazadores.
Taking a look at the tanks, we have Sovereign Zul in the Pershing with zombie food. Also a T-69, 2 1390s up against a AMX 5100, 2 T-69s, 2 1390s. So Cazadores bringing a little bit heavier with that 5100.
The Pershing play, I feel, with that view range is going to be crucial for maybe an engagement that goes east to west or west to east on some of those cross shots. But we're going to find out which way they're going to go here in a matter of seconds. And Cazadores is on the blue team, correct?
Yep, and
East
they
side.
will go east.
They like that east side.
They
This is
love
going to
it.
be a split, it looks like, coming out of the GooglyBobbers. But what kind of split? Let's go ahead and jump on over to one of the T1s. And Tasha.
And Tosha.
And he's going to hang back. And Armor Ghost is going to hang back over here on the eastern road. Now, he chooses this side of the mountain because of the proximity scout.
Precisely.
He is in complete safety for the moment until he has scouted himself.
It's actually a really good position now. It's got some really cool hull down spots. You can kind of delay your inevitable death, and a nice little bush there. And on the other side, Cazadores are inching ever closer to him, but they're still a ways out from getting proxy spotted. Kufo leads the way. for the Cazadores, and his 1390 as always. He is the scout of as Cazadores, along with the captain and caller. So he takes a lot of weight on his shoulders with this, and does a fantastic job, I think, carrying all that weight. He's going to get proxy spotted, I think, in a second if he doesn't take a left. No, he won't. He might. Oh, yes, he will. Takes a bit late. Let's slow down. And he's going to get some spotting done as best he can. But no proxying against that T1 craft.
Armor Ghost still not in range yet to have the proxy happening, but you can see the movement getting closer and closer on the map for this tank to see that heavy up front, that 5100 with Jonah. Jonah 2 almost spotted, not in range yet. And they are spotting on the map a little bit. That is GooglyBobbers,
Nice.
excuse me, to get a little bit
Jonah's getting close.
closer. He is almost there.
Almost. Inching closer. There's a window for Jonah to not get proxied also, just so you know. He might. No.
Yep,
Yes,
there he is.
There it is.
Now he's seen. 5100 is seen. And will the
RB's
medium
not
tank be
seen?
seen? No, just the 5100. Just Jonah 2. And that is going to force GooglyBobbers to pull back a bit. And Cazadores could use this kind of sixth sense. Of course, I mean the skill in the game itself, but also the understanding of, hey, they see us up there, they're going to pull back to the north side, we can get the southern position. But that's not going to be the case. They have fully committed to that eastern road.
Yeah. Actually, there are now 3 members of the Cazadores in the north. We got Ses, Arabin, and Jonah 2. Now, I don't see any cover on the minimap, but is anyone actually going to be able to stop the T1 from being taken down? That's I think that's Armagos is the T1 I'm talking about.
Well, we jump back over to Armor Ghost here. It did knock down a tree in frustration.
Or to use as cover.
Yep.
Oh,
Both.
Yeah. Sess is peeking out, trying to look for that. Spoon took some hits in the meantime, and now Armagos is getting zeroed on. He backs up into a defilade for cover, but he is taken down by Sess.
Spoon fires a shot against Logos, misses. Or no, looks like Logos stopped for a second. Now he took a shot, 2 of them coming out of Spoon
Wow.
into Logos. Logos falling back a little bit, gets behind the building. Kufo setting up in his 1390 for a longer range shot to try to get a hit on Spoon.
And it looks like, yeah, Sess is getting good cover shots. Logo being the tank to proxy spot him, or maybe or spot him from down below. But this is really risky for him to do. And I think that 1390 is just going to have to pull out, maybe leave the situation. This isn't a situation that 1390 should really stay. You're spotted, you don't have much armor, your height isn't really giving you that much of an advantage. I think this is where he needs to pull out and leave.
Well, the GooglyBobbers
And he will do that.
are, they're pulling back as well. Spoon going towards the west. And yeah, as you said, Rookhill, pulling back down.
It's
to
a
the
smart move. You don't want to stay. And Spoon's actually going to kind of, I think he's just playing around right there.
south. He's half piping it right now.
Yeah. Well, the only tank he's going to find in the south, actually, never mind, not the only tank. Kufo's in the south. Kufo, you brilliant sanker. He is there ready for Spoon to come to the south, maybe countering him out with this. And between Kufo and Logos, they may be able to take him down quickly if he plays this too aggressively. Spoon is, of course, the scout for the GooglyBobbers.
Zombie food in the Pershing getting closer and closer to those rocks, and nothing's going to be spotted for that 400-meter view range yet for those T1s, at least one of the T1s. That's down to the south. And Sovereign Zul's going to join him in the other Pershing. And we're waiting to see if there's going to be any slip-up.
We're almost getting to that
Cazadores.
5-minute mark, Clutch. Almost there.
We do see that 5-minute mark reset happening for a lot of different teams. They'll stick to a certain strategy for half of the map time. Map time is a total of 10 minutes. Then they'll switch to a different one once they have enough information assessed, or sometimes they just roll the dice, flip a coin. They could be here, guys, but if they're not, we'll have the advantage. Let's go for it.
Now Logos is actually going to be moving up into the Abbey. So after pushing Spoon out, they've decided that maybe they'll climb. And Logos is in one of the only alternate entrances. By the way, you can slip a lot of smaller tanks. You can even get a Pershing through here, by the way. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of... There's only one very specific angle that works, but you can do it. Logos will fit through just fine, though, in 1390. And he peeks around, doesn't actually see anyone.
Sovereign Zul, Zombie Food, and Tuxilla are now at the base of the flag cap on the side of the Cazadores. We've seen the Cazadores use that Foxtrot 7 approach, or that opening, to get some shots from far away, and now Spoon could be cut off, but the Pershing's moving in to get some shots against the Cazadores, and they could be sitting about half of a screen, a diagonal screen, that could allow for some initial flag cap. But the Cazadores, again, at that Foxtrot 7 location, have those shots from across the way.
And Kufo got plenty of spotting on members of the GooglyBobbers, so that really spoils their attempt to get onto this cap. The Cazadores are set up perfectly to stop any cap pressure. Logos is out on top. Jonah 2 is covering with Arabine. It's really an easy situation for the Cazadores to defend. They know how to play this. They've played it many times. This is the same strat they've used in other times. Kufo, also, by the way, just took down a T1 in the north. That opens up the cap of the GooglyBobbers, and they will move up a T1 Pollens, possibly to put on some cap pressure.
Tuxilla takes 2 hits from the 5100 from downtown. Now with 1 tank on the flag cap for a second, they're going to move back here. This is going to be a difficult position for both teams at this point, because if any of those heavier medium tanks pull back to the north, that's less fire for the southern tanks to deal with. And
But Arabine has found Tuxilla, and Arabine is going to take him down with ease.
Nice. Staying away from being scouted, waiting patiently, and then around the corner, here he comes. That is good communication from Cazadores. It's what Kufo wanted, for them to play more united, and Arabine sticking in just the right place to get that kill.
And now it looks like Kufo might be able to engage with Spoon, but he actually stops short, is recognizing that he's going to be able to take down, I think, a T-69. Yes, Pershing, Sovereign Zool finds him. First shot does not connect, stops just in front of him. Another bounce, unfortunately, for Kufo, as he takes a hit, and then a T-69. Kufo dropping another shot in Sovereign Zool, but then Kufo is finally able to finish him off. Really dicey right there for Cazadores. Lots of wasted shots, but they do have a huge advantage. There are 3 tier 8s versus 5 tier 8s right now. And Pollens will go down this T1. That is cap pressure removed.
That is the first tank to fall for the Cazadores. Logos moves in against Spoon, goes for the ram damage, 431 against 118. Logos needs 1 more shot against Spoon. He does take him out. Only 2 tanks remain now for GooglyBobbers, and 1 is all the way to the north. He's going to be moving to the west as fast as he can to get away from the firefight. The other one in the center, and he is going to brawl with the remaining Cazadoric tanks.
Yes, Cess and Jonah jumping onto Zombie Food. Zombie Food takes a hit down to 779. Cess getting on him. He's going to be able to unload into Zombie Food. A 3rd shot. 53 hit points left. Jonah should get the last kill. Actually, it's Arabine who picks it up.
Cazadores needs to focus on the map, as Baronish is a little bit too far away for them to catch up. They could get a couple lucky shots and get some tracks on them, but they need to focus on the flag cap, and that's what the Cazadores are indicating on the map. 2 tanks will be on the flag cap in a matter of seconds. The 3rd and 4th will be to the north. Now, the max multiplication of capture points you can have is 3, but when you have multiple tanks on the flag cap, they all are getting some sort of point gain. So if a tank is tagged, if it's hit, the reset of those points will happen for that tank, but not for the other tanks.
Yep. Cess and the T-69 will screen the cap to the west. They know that the only chance for GooglyBobbers to salvage this is to get a reset without actually losing their tank. That's going to be difficult because Cess is on the way back.
Baronish could actually fire blindly close to...
But Baronish is spotted. Cess is right behind him, and he gets a 2nd shot. Other tankers from the east will also be able to fire, but that is too late. Doesn't matter. Victory for Cazadores.
Cazadores ties up the series 1-1. A nice play for them on Abbey, and breaking it down real quickly, where they were on the east side, they had that opening from that Foxtrot 7 higher ground that allows them to fire into the flag area. Cazadores picked this map, and obviously for that reason, because it makes their enemy kind of move into a fishing net. And with Arabine's positioning, once they got that 1 kill for that tier 8, they were able to swoop in and get this round and get the kills.
Yeah, GooglyBobbers just didn't handle the situation nearly as well as Cazadores. Cazadores know this map. This is their map. This is their bread and butter. They go to fall back on it whenever they don't feel confident. It's like a loss on Ensk. They need to, regroup, get their confidence back. This is the map for them. Every time we see Cazadores lose, I think they're going to fall back on this map.
Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We come back. Battle number 3 of the Cazadores versus the GooglyBobbers. Hey everybody, welcome back to Wargaming.net League Gold League. I am Clutch, joined by Rukil. The gold means it's the best of the best in the region, and you will find different tournaments for different regions. South Korea, Southeast Asia, China has their own region, I believe. Then
Yep.
there's Europe and Russia.
Of course, China's behind their magical bamboo curtain.
That's right. And we have seen a couple teams compete in international tournaments that have been sponsored by Wargaming or sponsored by other companies or the WCG. And we've seen teams representative of China come out, and some of their strategies are a little bit behind the current meta. And I
Yeah.
would have to say that Russia and Europe lead in a lot of the development, with America just behind them.
I think
Sometimes
America
right up next
stands
to
up there with them.
Yeah.
We are awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And free.
Top three.
America.
Freedom. So we're going to jump into battle number 3 between these two teams. They're currently tied up 1-1. The map is going to be on Prohorovka. And again, we're waiting to make sure that the teammates are going to be ready to go. They have about 90 seconds since from the picking of the map to when we have to play the game. And that's 30 seconds from now, actually.
Yeah.
This is a map, again, I mentioned this many times, but it's proof enough of the evolution of meta changes. This was a very fast-paced map. Some people say the most entertaining map in Season 1. Now it's turned into sometimes the longest map.
Yeah, I don't know why we shifted away from that meta as much. It did get shut down a few times, but the thing is, the way a lot of teams are opening up, we could see a return of a strategy like that. We could see that opening, just straight-up push on the split scouts just to get out an early one and get some early position, but I doubt we'll see that from Cazadores. They'll probably play the southwest. GooglyBobbers probably a northwest position. We'll see a northwest split.
Let's go ahead and jump into battle number 3, guys. Prohorovka is the map. Cazadores versus the GooglyBobbers.
Taking a look at the tanks, we have T-32, 2 Pershings, and 2 1390s for the side of the GooglyBobbers. On the other side, in the blue team, Cazadores will have 2 T-32s and 3 1390s. Really big, slow, heavy group right there.
Yeah, the Pershings are going to be a faster-moving tank. They are a medium tank. And I feel that's going to be a little bit more advantageous for the GooglyBobbers. But it is the T-32.
Yeah, it's a solid tank. He'll probably be able to get to his position, which is going to be, of course, probably somewhere around Foxtrot 3. T-32s for GooglyBobbers are probably going to be somewhere around Echo 3 in that region. They're going to square off across that. But right now there's a scout run. Spoon makes it first to the middle and gets spotting, but Arabine is able to get a lot of vision out of his opening run. He spots every single Tier 8 tank. Great coverage by the Cazadores. What's the coverage from GooglyBobbers, though?
GooglyBobbers, they have one close to the railroad tracks, could be one of the T1s. The rest of them are spread from the 3 line to the west. They are staying closer to the road. Shot fired from Spoon, that's going to be a miss against Kupo. The spread from, it's almost reflecting of the Cazadores, except the Cazadores have those 2 heavier tanks. And with those T-32s, you look at the HP value difference, 1440 of the Pershing versus 1550 of the T-32. It's 110 HP, but sometimes they can make or break an engagement.
Definitely. With heavier armor out of T-32, generally you can expect to have a more effect out of your armor, you know. And now everyone's actually going to be kind of just chilling out in the middle. Wow, damage
except
going
Logos.
out.
Logos not chilling whatsoever. He's getting hit.
Played it a little risky, got too comfortable. That's what I was saying, chilling out, that's just getting comfy.
That's right.
But we're maybe a little too comfy because of that damage going out.
Well, Spoon is in a good position next to this rock to get that hit on Logos. Logos hadn't spotted him, or at least
And
wasn't
Arabine.
anticipating that. Oh, big hits against him from Cazadores.
Oh, down to 290s, tracked out in the open. He has to burn his kit. He may take more damage. I expect him to. It would be worth it to get this Tier 8, but no. Actually, a bounce off of the front of his tank will keep him alive. Really unlucky there to bounce against a 1390.
Wow. Bananas to the Wall host and Zombie Food and the Pershings, we're trying to land a couple more hits. Logos still streaming around in the 1390 on that open field, going down to the divots. They're not able to hit him. But the T-32s, CES 28 and Jonah 2, still at full capacity. Well, CES did take a hit a little bit earlier on.
Does he have that armor? He doesn't have camo on his Pershing. That's weird.
Bananas to the Wall host?
Well, who are you looking at there in the Pershing?
Bananas to the
Zombie
Wall
food.
host.
Or bananas. Bananas doesn't have camo. Huh.
Intriguing.
Yes. Well, no, not
Oh, on the
net.
tank itself.
Look at the paint.
Yep.
He's naked, as it were.
Well, sometimes freedom is out in the open for everyone to see. Or as Big Dave likes to say it, we don't camouflage our prices. Our prices are out in the open. Stay tuned for more Big Dave stuff, guys, in Season 3. It's going to be fun.
Thank you,
Sovereign
Coach.
Zool, T-32. It's crazy because when we see it from our viewpoint, it looks like they have shots. They don't. If you guys can see right here.
Yeah, the terrain is
That terrain
crazy.
is blocking them.
Really dynamic terrain right here in the middle. It's just, it's hard to make things work. Now, of course, as we say, that Spoon takes a hit because he exposed himself a little bit too much to Jonah and Cess. Jonah and Cess doing a great job here in the T-32s, as 1390s are actually, looks like Kufo and his 1390 is going to get an alternate angle as he stops up on some high ground, looking for shots. Maybe he'll get one onto Sovereign Zul, but I don't think he has a shot. I expect to see Kufo maybe make it to the east and try and get some flank fire, as Logos and Arabine are sitting way in the back now. They know they're damaged. Arabine took another hit after we last saw him, and he's down to 86 hit points.
Looking over at the T1 Antosha, next to the railroad tracks, he's not going to see anything on the eastern side, but that's important for him to be in a position close to there because he can gauge where the threat will be coming from the north. If it was a lot of spotting happening, if they're able to see, if they're able to see 3 or 4 of the heavy tanks, I would actually have Antosha move up the railroad tracks to see if anybody's there. If they're not, they could bring back one of the T1, the 1390s, and have them come all the way around the railroad tracks and actually get some shots from the other way from the north. We saw Nagatron do that from Fulcrum Gaming in Season 2. It is a possibility, but it will be a sacrificial play for that T1.
And now we actually see shots on Sovereign Zul. I think he's tracked in the opening. He's going to take a few hits from 1390s in the back, tracked again. I think he's burned his kit already. He's going to keep taking these track hits. The shots going a little bit to the left. Sovereign Zul will take more fire as both Jonah and Cess line up shots. Sovereign Zul is down to 301. They're paying for this position heavily, down to 30 hit points. One more hit could take down Sovereign Zul, but he gets barely into the defilade. I think Kufo does not have a shot anymore, but there's Arabine going down in 1390. He finally gets spotted.
Pollins takes down the T1. Now from the right, we see one of the blue tanks getting close.
But here comes Kufo coming in hot, and he's going to get in on this engagement. He gets onto Sovereign Zul, gets the kill. Now we will begin an engagement on Zombie Food as he attempts to pull out, because Kufo does not need to be in this engagement. He has lost his driver. He's also lost some gas tanks. Cess is going to come in and try and help out his battle buddy. He has secured Kufo's life. And a 1390 in the back. Logos will be one of the only tier 8s left alive. Cess is almost entirely alone against 2 Pershings and possibly a 1390.
Cess takes a big hit to the front at 386 out of 1550. Zombie Food moves in. He takes a big hit himself. Another shot to the other side. Bananas to the wall host cleans it up, but he falls. It's a long-range engagement happening, and they do ping the map. They're going to spread in close. Tuxzilla is going to be the point man, while the rear is going to be backed up by the Pershing, staying behind those dead tanks because he is low on HP. Spoon in the center of the map along the Charlie position is going to move up, and he does spot Logos. Tries to set up a shot from far away, waits to get Logos to get out of the area, but no, 2 shots actually hit the building. Another shot from Spoon's going to miss Logos. Logos still on the run, and Kufo has an open shot against Spoon. He takes it. Logos still on the run. Tuxzilla at full HP is going to unload on the back of Logos, and Logos is going to fall.
But Kufo does have shots. He's not able to make enough connections, though. And Tuxzilla zeros for a shot. Hits Kufo once. Someone else, Bananas to the Wallhouse, I think, getting the final
Spoon is actually one that's able to
Oh.
get it. And the GooglyBobbers take battle number 3. 1 battle away for a victory against the Cazadores. A breakdown of what happened, the initial engagement, the hits into the Cazadores brought their HP a little bit low. They had some fighting him, and I have to applaud Kufo for running in there in that 1390 because it caused 3 of those tanks to turret break against that T-32
Yeah.
and focus on him.
If they'd been able to do that a second or 2
Yeah.
earlier, just seconds earlier, and I think that would have gone very differently. It's a matter of timing and synchronizing a lot of your attacks, a lot of your pressure, because you had a lot of one-dimensional pressure from Cazadores. It was, you had the medium or rather heavy tanks in the middle, peeking up, getting some nice shots here and there, 1390s here and there getting shots, but it was never all at the same time, and the pressure wasn't quite as uniform. Cazadores could have been more organized with this, and I think that would have done better for them. GooglyBobbers made some interesting timings. It was also a little bit one-dimensional at times, but they were able to keep the pressure from multiple angles, and I think that helped them out in this battle.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And what also helped is that Spoon got to his almost 18th shot. 17 shots were fired. 12 of them landed. 9 of them actually penetrated. But for him to have that many shots, yes, it was a little bit of a longer engagement, but he stayed alive to get him. 17 for Bananas to the Wall Host, 10 of them penetrated, and Tuxzilla, 6 out of 17. Some of those shots were actually on the move as well. from both teams here.
Yeah,
in those
Spoon was firing
1390s.
all the time on the move. He does that on 1390, and you can see how that affects his accuracy. He's not getting a lot of hits, but I guess he gets a sufficient number of hits. I mean, they're winning, but I don't know. I usually don't bother to fire in my 1390 until I know I have the shots that I can make.
Next map's Mines. Go ahead and bring up Mines. We'll talk about the changes have happened, but we've seen pretty much every game so far it's happened for Season 3 is fights in the center and people bringing WZ-132s to the center to get those shots in the 1390s. But what has been happening so far, Randall, and why is it effective or not effective?
So one of the major changes on Mines right now is I circled it in about Echo 7, Echo 8. They changed the wall. It used to be kind of like just a bump and people would fight around the corner like that. But now it's become more of a just piece of wall, and then there's just a large rock. So the thing is, now you can go either way around it. And that is, of course, right there. But I don't think it's affected things too much. We almost never saw corner games like that in this section of the map. Most teams would just kind of go around either way. But the thing is, like you were talking about, Clutch, the WZ-132. Bring that up to the hill, you can begin an engagement immediately, right here, right at the entrance to the hill, instead of previously where the engagements would happen further to the north or to the south because teams had come in like that, and they'd actually gotten past the entrance to the hill. Now with that, you can slow your opponent down right at the entrance, and then support can come in from the south with slower tanks, like the Pershing and the T-32. You bring in slower tanks, and generally they don't get to help with that hill fight, but WZ-132 can slow things down on that entrance.
Yeah, a lot of people always say the 1390 over the WZ-132. I like to, just be a little bit different because that's me.
Yeah.
But that is the advantage of having the loaded round, the loaded shell ready to go. You track one of those 1390s, the T-32s, the Pershings, the other 1390s, they're going to be reloaded in time to take out that one Tier 8. Let's go ahead and jump into battle number 4. GooglyBobbers are up 2-1 against the Cazadores on Mines.
And as we take a look at these tanks, we see T-32, 2 T-69s, and 2 1390s for the side of the GooglyBobbers. On the side of Cazadores, 2 T-69s and 3 1390s. So, going for the burst for the Cazadores, but you got some consistent fire with the T-32 for the GooglyBobbers.
Consistent fire is crucial, especially when the reload tanks, the autoloader tanks, are reloading. And they're up in a brawl mode, and the T-32 is going, guess what? Boom, 8 seconds.
Don't forget about the hit points in the armor.
That's
very
right.
effective.
That's right. More than sufficient. 1390 is going to be up in the front. Spoon and Tuxilla. No WZ-132 on that team. And Cazadores are going to stick with the 1390s. No WZ-132
Now the initial
on theirs.
engagement here, I think will go to the Cazadores, and you can see why, except Kufo takes some hits from T-69s. But they've scared Tuxilla and Spoon away from the hill. 3v2, it's not exactly an ideal situation, and they have to just lose out to this fight. Cazadores gaining a crucial position of the map because look at the layout from the GooglyBobbers.
And Tasha is over on the 3 line, checking what's happening on the lighthouse or the island. The other T1 Armored Ghost is checking the east. Their spread is wider. Cazadores have the high ground, like you mentioned, Rookhill, and that allows them to see more, to angle down more. Not the best gun depression for the 1390s, but the T-69s don't. They have pretty good gun depression, I believe.
But
Moderate.
they have a problem looking up
They
with
do.
that gun. That's
The
the
gun
problem.
elevation.
Oh, Kufo's taking hits from Spoon back at Cap. Kufo losing some hit points in the early game. He took a hit entering the hill, and now he's taken another hit on the hill. That's actually a small victory for the GooglyBobbers. With this, if they can make it work right and they can keep getting this kind of damage out, they could possibly make a reasonable push onto the hill. Sovereign Zul is proxy spotted. And Kufo's playing this really aggressively. He is the scout, but he's also a damaged player. Arabine or Logos could be spotting. And actually Spoon gets spotted. Shots go out from Logos, who is in a bush connecting with Spoon, taking him down to 877, evening up that health pool just a little bit.
Sovereign Zul in the T-32 getting closer and closer to Kufo. Kufo backing up and going forward up on that hillside. Going to be a bit of a standstill between these two different teams. Now the opening that can happen is actually going to be very difficult for the GooglyBobbers because of the 3-pronged areas of the Cazadores. The most important area is the west. They have the water side, and they can hold it for a little bit longer. But if there is a commitment coming out of Spoon or Tuxilla, And it looks like, who is it? It is Spoon. He could try to reach that water side, and that would cause a turret break in the center, which could allow GooglyBobbers to push in. It's risky, it'll be difficult, but if Spoon is able to get over to the lighthouse side, take down the one tank that's guarding that area, and then get some shots into the side of one of the tanks, that will limit their range of moving on the mines.
Fair point, Clutch. This is getting really slow, though. This is kind of... I'm not seeing a lot of action here.
No,
They're
that's
really
why it comes down to Spoon, and Spoon lands
Oh.
a shot against Kufo. Spoon's in a good position to land it. I thought he was going to go further north, but he landed one shot to the south.
Hey, Kufo's
And
just been aggressive, man.
Is it a T1 that's in the Foxtrot 2 section?
Yeah, that's a T1. That's Pollins, and I'll go and jump to that position. Pollins is in their passive. He does finally spot Spoon, and with that, I expect to see a return fire, but none yet. Ah, Spoon even blind fires in the bush. I think he's looking for Pollins, but he's not quite found him yet. Lining up another shot. Maybe this one will connect. No, going just over that tank. Oh, and another shot does not connect. Spoon knows he's there. He knows there's a T1.
How close is it?
Oh, inches, man.
Oh, just aim a little bit to
He's-
the right. He's aiming to the left.
Yeah,
Oh.
he after he
gonna have to
missed
reload.
Pollins barely twice, just barely, like he was aiming slightly to his right, just a little bit too much. Misjudged Pollins' position. Pollins is not quite hugging the rock. A lot of players will hug the rock.
I'd
like
be
they'll
hugging.
Scrape it,
I
you
would
know?
be hugging the rock.
Well,
if
you
I was
would be
getting shot
dead.
at. Yeah.
You'd be dead against Spoon right now if you were hugging that rock.
Really?
Pollins didn't. Yeah, look at the distance between Pollins and that rock. Look at it. He's a little bit distant.
Oh,
and
so if I was referring to him falling back and hugging,
Oh,
not pushing
well,
up and hugging
the
behind
thing
the
is,
bush.
one of the shots went right here, like
Oh.
right there through the rock, and then the other one hit the rock right next to him.
Wow.
The other ones then went to his right, off into the distance here.
Okay.
And you can
I
see
see
an
your
impact
point.
on
I see your
right over there.
Spoon's going to go for it. He's going to kick up into high gear the trajectory, and he slows down in the water.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
Yeah.
But the engagement's happening in the center. Shots being fired on both sides. Zombie Food's the one to fall. Spoon from long ways away, still in the engagement, but the T-32 is in some trouble. Bitterness of the Wall Host falls. Sovereign Zool, now in his T-32, is going to back up as the T-69s are pushing against him against the AMX 1390.
Wow, and it looks like they're reloading. Both Thugscry and Cess are not loaded right now, and it's a 2v3 as far as the battle is. Thugzilla, a reload, and he will take hits down to 17, and he's finished off by Cess. Now they can readjust, and maybe, they might have a hard time killing Sovereign Zool. A few bounce shots will allow him to live. Maybe this last connection needs to happen. Are they reloading? They're both loading, it looks like.
Oh.
Wow, they're both loading. Took them too much to kill a 1390. And I saw one or two bounces on that.
Oh, a
T-32.
miss from Spoon. Sovereign Zool gets the kill, though. Thugs Cry now still on the reload. He's almost done. And Spoon getting in front of him. Jonah in the T1 still trying to get the fight. And Sovereign Zool lives in the T32. And Spoon now targeting Jonah too as Sovereign Zool crews around. It's only one tank left alive for the GooglyBobbers to take down with 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. And that is Pollins, the one that dodged all the shots from Spoon before, but now Spoon is going in for the kill.
He knows that T1 was there, and now the T1 Pollins is firing. He's been revealed. It's all a matter of time.
Spoon finally going to get the kill he's been waiting to get against that T1, and the GooglyBobbers will get a victory under their belt as they defeat the Cazadores 3-1.
I love that icon they have. Just look at that.
It makes me want to go fishing.
It's a bobber.
It really does.
That's what they are. They're the GooglyBobbers.
GooglyBobbers. Congratulations to them. Sovereign Zool staying alive in that T-32. Spoon coming in just in time in that 1390. 7 for 8 is Sovereign Zool. And Spoon, 10 for 17. These tanks getting to that 18 drums. Keeping those 1390s alive and mobile. Allows them to stay in the engagements for longer and doing a great job.
And those T-69s did well, but the thing is, I saw shots connect with tracks. And that's the thing. When they connect with tracks and heat shells, they really fizzle. And you're going to see in this engagement that we jump to, T-69s are doing what they can, but it's not going to be enough. Once they're reloading, the GooglyBobber is going to be able to come back. T-32 is going to really mess some tanks up. He is doing work with his reload, and even though this 1390 is eventually going to go down, you're going to see in just a second, first connection on this 1390 right now is not going to actually pen. It's only going to track. Second shot will third shot will finally finish him off, but that's a lot of shells wasted. And now they're going to focus on this T-32. But look, all that damage that didn't happen but tracked him. Now, that's actually going to leave him alive. Just a fraction of a hit left. He's so low right now. And now Spoon gets to come in completely loaded, and he's actually going to be able to get the kills that are needed. Actually, T-32 gets the first one, but Spoon gets to put out all of the damage. Just it's really unfortunate for Cazadores. They made a really nice timed push, but they weren't able to make the connections needed.
Is what I mentioned at the beginning, that consistent fire tanks versus autoloaders in brawl mode
You were talking
that are
about it.
reloading. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And that's why you have the offset advantage in that type of scenario, guys. But in any type of warfare, you want to use a certain tank, you want to use a certain vehicle for a certain reason.
A certain role.
A certain role. And a T-32 fills a lot of different roles in brawl modes or in long-range fire. Penetration at long range, a little bit difficult, but
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad. No, it's not. And that's why I really like it, because I feel it's a jack-of-all-trades type of tank.
Yeah, and it really actually is. It excels in many areas. In hold down, it's fantastic, and it's flexible in other areas as well. I am still a fan of it on city maps.
Yeah. That's why they call America the Department of Defense, because it's all about that defensive positioning. The T-32. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We come back to final match of the night. That's going to be the Cunninghams versus River of Blood. If there's one match you don't want to miss this season, it's this one. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.